So I'll start with my wild card for Ray Fiennes. My wild card is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So this is the fourth in the Harry Potter franchise, and the first one with Ray Fiennes to appear as Voldemort. It's from 2005. The IMDb plot summary: Harry Potter finds himself competing in a hazardous tournament between rival schools of magic, but he is distracted by reoccurring nightmares. It's directed by Mike Newell, starring Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, the entire Harry Potter cast of characters and actors, and then Ray Fiennes in his first appearance in the franchise. So why I picked this for Ray Fiennes' wild card? I mean, first off, I felt I had to discuss Harry Potter in this episode. If you're talking about Ray Fiennes, like Voldemort is a role that he will always be associated with. And this is the first appearance of him, and he isn't really in these movies very much until the final one, and then this one, I think, are the two that he has the most on-screen appearance in. Though his performance is so strong, it sort of weaves through the next couple films, even though he's not really in them very much. But I think for him, this was a big choice to enter into a franchise. And really, to me, this is when he decided, or at least this is when I started viewing him. Look, he is a character actor. He came up in the 90s. They were trying to put him in a lot of these leading man roles, English Patient, The Avengers. I guess Quiz Show doesn't really count. That was when he was kind of getting started. And even the romantic comedies, like we mentioned, The Man in Manhattans. And then he just joining Harry Potter to me is a symbol, as a sign that you are a amazing British character actor. Because that's all, other than the three lead kids, that's all that the cast is just stacked with. Just some of the best British actors of the last 20 years. And now he's joining that pantheon of saying, you know what, I don't need to be a leading man in everything. I am now making this, choice to become now the lead villain in this massive franchise. But he has the acting chops, like most of these actors do in these Harry Potter movies. I'm not getting overwhelmed by the franchise. He still brings an incredibly compelling performance in Voldemort to this movie. You can tell his acting chops, that duality that we've been talking about comes across even through the makeup. It's simple makeup. They do erase his nose, which is a key feature of his face, I guess, for you, or that distance, right? We're talking about. And they take away his hair, even though I guess time did that to him a little bit too. But he's under some makeup, and sometimes you get lost in that, and you're playing a character that very easily could be overdone, pantomime, if you will. But I think he does a fantastic job, especially in this movie, with capturing really the evil, but like the slick evil of who Voldemort is and how he is so appealing to these
Yeah.
wizards in terms of going back to this darker, kind of very Nazi coded time, and he's very
Yeah.
much the wizard Hitler. So I think he is able to bring something to this role from his own acting performance, not get swallowed up, enter in a franchise, and still be a standout in terms of performances, which this franchise has so many of those. And I think it's really just due to his talents as a performer and what he's able to do. And I'll talk more about the movie, which is my favorite Harry Potter movie, in a bit. You saw the movie when it came out, and what were your thoughts
Oh
on seeing
yeah.
Voldemort on screen for the first time?
I mean, all the anticipation that's sort of building up to this movie of who is he and what would he look like and how would he show up? Like it's delivered and then some with
Hmm.
Rafe inhabiting it. And it sort of makes sense, right? Whoever had this genius idea to cast him, even though he was resistant, I've heard him talk in interviews that somebody from his family was like, "You kidding to be saying no to this? Like, you got to take this," because he didn't want to, which I understand. Like, if you're a serious actor, you don't want to be in sort of this sort of franchise world, perhaps. But
Right, right.
I think it was a stroke of genius for whoever thought him for this part, because yeah, it's all the things that we've been saying, but now in this scenario, just like with Schindler's List, like the evil is dialed up,
Hmm.
but there is still that seductive quality that everybody is sort of drawn to it, maybe even hypnotized by it through magic in this case. But he is a very powerful being, and that sort of looms large, and you can't escape it. And he grounds that, because this, again, to your point, it could have been like there's no mustache involved here, but it could have been like a mustache twirling, really
Absolutely.
big, loud performance. But instead, it's sort of snake like and slithering
Yeah.
kind of performance. It's quieter, but it has those big moments. And it feels like classically trained British actor doing this, but also doing it for the screen. Like it doesn't
Yes.
feel like a, theatrical play like performance that somebody might do at, a a Shakespearean performance. It has elements of that, but it's very much for the screen. It lends itself beautifully to all the makeup and all the green screen. There's so much of all that wizardry going around him, but you never lose him in that.
Right.
And I agree, like there's a bit of the actor element to it, like you were saying earlier, but it's Voldemort. It's the lead villain. All roads lead to him in terms
Hmm.
of who did this, why are we in this place in the first place. It's all him. So in my mind, he is one of the leads of the movie, even though he's barely in it.
Hmm.
You can't have Harry Potter without him, actually.
Yeah, literally, because the spell, the killing the parents, he
Yeah.
gave him the scar, like all
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah, you
All
literally
of
couldn't
it.
have. Yeah,
So he's the
exactly.
lead of the movie in many
Mhm.
ways, I think.
We talked about one Harry Potter movie before, but
Mhm.
I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, though I didn't read the books until after the movies. So I didn't actually know anything about what was going to happen in this in terms of Voldemort showing up, what he was going to look like. I mean, my friends who'd read the books obviously knew this was going to happen and, knew the descriptions of how Voldemort was going to be.
Mm,
So to me, it was a total surprise and one that was handled incredibly well, not only just by the filmmakers, but also, again, about Ray Fiennes' performance because you hear about Voldemort, you see him as a young kid in the second film as a ghost, and you hear all about this guy and what he is, but in your mind it could be built up to something that isn't delivered on screen. And I think how the film handles that reveal of Voldemort, but then also what Ray Fiennes is able to bring to that role, for me at least, as someone who had him built up in my mind because I didn't have any other thing to go off of, he exceeded expectations in terms of how
yeah.
creepy, evil, powerful, why you understand, oh yeah, I get why people are following this guy. And you
Yeah.
get that he has this anger and that's where his prejudice is coming from too. It's not just, oh, he's born evil and he's just an evil
Right.
guy. Like, no, this is a person who's gone through things that have shifted his worldview into one of hate and prejudice and
Hmm.
bigotry and all these things that Voldemort represents.
Hmm. I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, the material is super rich, but obviously he brings a lot to it. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought this. I would have brought it if you hadn't. Like, it has to be mentioned. And it
Hmm.
is a wild card choice because he almost didn't do it.
Right.
It doesn't sort of really stack up and in his career, but I'm so glad that he did. I
Yeah, and
can't
it's
imagine anybody else doing this part. Who
abs
would? Who could?
absolutely not. Well, we'll find out because they're remaking it for TV.
Oh
So, blah,
yeah. Oh
blah,
my
blah. But
gosh.
other than
Yeah.
that, yeah, who could do this? But I'll
Yeah.
also say, this is my favorite Harry Potter film. I think this movie, within all the Potters, I love the story of all the coming of age stuff is dialed up, but then also there's this sense of dread of Voldemort
Mhm.
coming. Like, at this age, you're about to enter adulthood, and you just kind of sense it. And there's this adult world that, for the very first time, Harry's dealing with reality that's also impacting the adults as opposed to kid challenges that he's kind of
Right.
overcoming. I also feel that Mike Newell just did a fantastic job in directing this
Mhm.
thing. This movie, every time I see it, to me, looks like the most expensive of all the Harry Potter movies. So much of it is filmed on location. The sets are very opulent. The effects are just incredible. And before and even after this, well, maybe the Azkaban was notwithstanding because
Yeah.
of what Cuarón brought into it, Alfonso Cuarón, but they don't seem to be like look this good. I don't know what he did, but something about this just looks grand and big and epic, and the effects still stand out so well. So this to me is the Potter movie I enjoy the most, and I can kind of watch on its own sometimes because it
Mhm.
is so self-contained and just fun to see the kids at their first dance and like their first
Right.
love and all that stuff. Because I love coming of age stories, and obviously all the Harry Potters are coming of age, but this is the most interesting to me coming of age. It's like that one year where everything starts becoming real for the first time in terms of, yeah, you know what, I am going to be an adult at some point, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of excited about that, even though it's a scary world, and that's to me what makes this movie so fun. And like the lore is there in the background, but it really is just about the kids and what they're going through.
Right.
What do you enjoy this film? It's just a Harry Potter movie?
I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so when the movie's fan, I'm not much of a reader, so sadly I haven't read the books. I'm not like I didn't dress up as Harry Potter or anything like that, but I
Hmm.
of all the franchises, I would say maybe leaving Bond,
Mm.
probably this is up there for me in terms of what I would sort of pick up and watch. But to me, the first movie in the series is that it's that
That's your
comfort
favorite one
watch.
to you.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is just so comfortable, and I love them as kids, and you're being introduced to the new world,
Yeah.
and they just did such an amazing job, and Christopher Columbus is just so good with it to kind of put you back in that ship. Even though I know how everything works, I'm always surprised by all the things that happen in the movie.
Mm. Oh
That's
yeah.
sort of the genius of that. So yeah, but this is amazing too.
Yeah, we covered the first Harry
Yeah,
Potter
we
film. I'll
did.
post a link below in case people want to hear our thoughts on Sorcerer's Stone. It's a great franchise. I think it'll go down in history as one of the best made and best acted, and Rafe is a part of that forever, you know?
Yeah.
Hi there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I review a new release and then discuss 6 other movies made by that film's actor or director and how they shaped us. Subscribe right now or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.